Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into the fascinating and, honestly, completely misunderstood neurobiology of your parrot's brain. For decades, everyone just assumed that when a bird went to sleep, it was a simple state of shutting down, like a rudimentary pause button on their day. But recent scientific breakthroughs, they've absolutely shattered that myth. We're going to look at exactly what happens inside your bird's brain the second those lights go out, and why their sleep is actually incredibly complex.
But first, I want you to picture something for a second. Think about the last time you had a truly terrible night's sleep. Think about how irritable you are the next day. The brain fog, zero patience, right? Now, take that exact feeling and map it onto a companion bird. When a parrot is screaming relentlessly, biting, or maybe plucking its feathers, we usually jump straight to behavioral or training solutions. But what if the root cause isn't their attitude at all? What if they're simply chronically sleep-deprived?
Section 1, the 12-hour sleep rule. Okay, so let's dive into this. To really understand what a parrot needs right now in our living rooms, we have to look at where they actually come from in the wild and what that geography means for their physical bodies. Across the board, avian vets universally agree on one fundamental baseline. Most pet birds require an uninterrupted 10 to 12 hours of complete darkness every single night. And hey, that doesn't just mean a quiet room. It means total pitch black darkness to keep their bodies, hormones, and minds in perfect sync. This is quite literally a biological non-negotiable. And this quote perfectly explains the why behind that. As avian veterinarian Dr. Ken Well points out, the closer to the equator a species originates, the more consistent its sleep needs and the less seasonal variation it requires. Think about it. Popular companion birds like African greys or macaws come from equatorial regions where the light and dark split is remarkably stable all year round. We're talking roughly 12 hours of day and 12 hours of night. So their internal clocks are biologically calibrated to that near-perfect 50-50 split. Now, here's a massive trap owners often fall into: confusing resting with actual sleeping. A bird sitting quietly on a perch in a lit living room while you binge-watch TV, they're merely roosting. Roosting is just an alert resting state. It's used for short daytime naps while keeping an eye out for danger. True sleep, on the other hand, is a deep, restorative recharge. It strictly requires total darkness and complete safety for the bird to finally let its guard down. Without that, they simply aren't getting the deep rest they desperately need.
Section 2, complex sleep architecture.
Because what actually happens inside a sleeping parrot's brain during that true sleep is, well, astonishing. It honestly rivals our own mammalian brains. Data from a landmark study published in PLOS Biology revealed something incredible. For the longest time, science just assumed avian REM sleep was super rudimentary, maybe like 7% of their night. But this research, it showed that a budgigar's REM sleep actually makes up 26.5% of their total sleep time. That matches and honestly slightly exceeds human adult levels. No way, right? It completely throws that outdated idea of simple bird sleep right out the window. And just like us, they sleep in cycles. Parrots experience this fascinating ultradian rhythm, which is basically a systematic, repeating cycle. Researchers found that budgies systematically move through slow-wave sleep, intermediate sleep, and REM over and over again, exactly every 29 minutes all through the night. It's like clockwork. But right here is where avian sleep gets uniquely wild. Remember, parrots are prey animals, so they've developed this incredible evolutionary adaptation called unihemispheric slow-wave sleep. That's a mouthful, I know, but it literally means the bird can sleep with half of its brain completely asleep, while the other half stays awake, with one eye physically open to monitor the room for predators. It's an amazing trick that allows them to satisfy that homeostatic sleep drive, their basic biological need for rest, without ever sacrificing their guard. Section 3, Sleep and Memory Consolidation. So why exactly is this deep sleep architecture, all those REM cycles and slow-wave stages, so vital for a bird's daily life, their learning, and their behavior? Well, it turns out it's literally organizing their mind. A fascinating study from the University of Chicago Medical Center looked at starlings, which, much like parrots, are highly vocal learners. And they found that sleep is the critical process that solidifies auditory memories. When a bird learns a new song or a new task, it's a full night of sleep that restores their cognitive performance and protects that brand new memory from being overwritten by other waking distractions. Without that sleep, their capacity to learn just absolutely plummets. Section 4, the artificial light threat. Unfortunately, our modern human living rooms present a severe, almost invisible threat to these natural brain processes. It's called ALN, or artificial light at night. And the clinical reality here is pretty alarming. Blue light from our TVs, our phones, and everyday household LEDs is highly, highly effective at blocking the production of melatonin. And melatonin is that crucial natural hormone that signals the body it's time to rest. When we suppress it with artificial light, we throw the birds into a dangerous state of circadian misalignment. Basically, their internal clock is screaming that it's daytime, even when it's pitch black outside. And get this. Here's a surprising scientific fact you probably didn't know. Parrots don't just see light with their eyes. They actually possess deep brain photoreceptors. That means light can influence their biological clock directly through their skull. So if you're just tossing a thin sheet over their cage in a brightly lit room, that light leaking in isn't just a mild annoyance to them. It's a massive biological signal that cascades through their entire endocrine system, keeping them physiologically wide awake. This creates a really severe physiological chain effect. It's like dominoes falling. Artificial light causes sleep deprivation, which acts as this massive metabolic stressor on their little bodies. It elevates cortisol, which is their main stress hormone. That spike in stress increases inflammation, suppresses their immune system, and even disrupts their digestion. Ultimately, all this internal physiological chaos leads directly to the hormonal aggression, the intense biting, and the feather plucking that owners constantly struggle with.
Section 5, Building a Better Routine.
Okay, so now that we understand the dangers, let's turn all this neurobiology into practical action. Here is your checklist for an optimal sleep setup. First, you got to aim for that strict baseline of 10 to 12 hours of totally uninterrupted darkness. Second, eliminate that blue light. No TV glow, no LEDs anywhere near their sleep area. Third, and honestly I can't recommend this enough, utilize a separate, smaller sleep cage and a quiet, dark room away from all your main household traffic. Remember, these guys are light-sleeping prey animals. Normal household noise will just trap them in that shallow state of alert rest. And finally, just be consistent. Anchoring their internal clock with a rock-solid daily routine is absolutely the best preventative medicine you can possibly offer. I want to leave you with one final thought today. We've seen the hard data. True sleep literally reshapes a bird's brain. It solidifies their memories, and it strictly regulates their entire immune and endocrine systems. So ask yourself, what is your current living room lighting doing to your bird's mind tonight? It just might be time to completely rethink their bedtime routine. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.